Welcome to YouTube channel Kadam Academy. Dear friends, I have few channels like a Python for engineers and scientists and this Kadam Academy and few more channels which is beneficial to you that will enhance your problem solving skills. Today's lecture or video on the steps in problem solving process part 2. Here what will happen, problem solving forms a part of thinking. Problem solving become opportunities to learn and create something in your life. If bad decision is made, then whatever time you consume, whatever the resources you are utilized may get wasted. Hence, it is necessary, very important to make proper decision while solving the problem. Normally, decision can be made using the problem solving approach. You can learn by problem analysis, problem solving. Here, some step approach we are going to learn in this video, and this problem solving requires a methodical step-by-step approach to solve a challenge. Here are some basic steps we are going to study. What will happen when solving the approach by using this approach problem in your personal life or at the workplace? You have to follow these 6 steps. Everyone, please watch each and every slide, will be beneficial to you, and that will be give you success in your problem solving techniques, develop your technique. Friend, these 6 steps I will show you one by one. First step, identify and define the problem. You have to clarify terms and context. Does everybody is completely understand this problem? That we have to find out. Step 2, analyze, understand the problem. Here we have to generate the possible solution. How the possible solution will come out. Next step become a third step, evaluate, identify alternatives of the solution. So here what will happen, we have to evaluate and identify the alternatives, various alternatives may be possible, and what are those we have to identify. And step 4, we have to decide on a solution from the alternatives. These alternatives we have to put it in front of individual you have in team, in front of team, or you are doing individually. You have to decide on that solution, perfect solution, correctly solution. And next step become a list of instructions that enable you to solve the problem using the selected solution. And last 6th step is the evaluate the solution. What will happen? I will tell you some difficulties at the problem solving. During this first step, what are the most serious difficulty occur? They do not understand the problem correctly. When we not understand define the problem, or analyze the problem, understand the problem, so what will happen? Automatically people get afraid of taking the decision while solving the problem, and sometimes the list of alternative is incomplete. There may be possibility while eliminating the alternatives, we eliminate the good alternatives unknowingly. Solving the problem on any at life, at workplace, for the computers programming, one of the most tasks for the problem solver is writing the instruction code and program, or the whatever the steps we are doing for that one, that you have to write out on paper. So this system demands that no step in the solution to a problem is left, okay, or instead that the steps be in the proper order. Okay, that may be a logical and skillful job to you. So first we'll start with the first step in detail. I will tell you that is the very most important step. One of the 6-step guide help you to solve the problem. Here, step 1, identify and define the problem. State the problem as clearly as possible. That means, does everybody in your team or you yourself, individual problem solving, you have the completely understand this problem? So once Albert Einstein once said that formulation of the problem is often more vital or essential than its solution, which may be only matter of your mathematical or experimental skill. Dear friend, identify problem is the first step in solving the problem. It is very essential aspect before solving any problem. Whether you are dealing with the problem that may be complex one or relatively simple one, it's essential, vital that you have a clear understanding of what it is that you are hoping to solve. Friends, it is ability to identify the nature of problem, deconstruct it, that means break it, and develop an effective set of action to address the challenges related to it. Friend, these challenges were to solve it through this break and develop effective solutions, and actions are important. Friend, in some of the challenging conditions, I have going to give you one example of the problem statement. In some challenging situation, what you do while starting the solving a problem, what you do is some students are asked to them to identify a problem in their home city and prepare a research proposal on a suitable urban development in order to find a solution for the problems. What are the problems are there for the home city? What happened in that next step? Of course, at the first brainstorming session, the students were only talking about what's not good, what doesn't work. They try to discuss. But in this some challenging situations, many students are overwhelmed or very great in amount the emotions and see just big troubles, obstacles, barriers, and the troubles. Or the great problem solver usually to identify the very roots of the problematic situation, the nature of the particular problem, which can be clearly distinguished, addressed. Here, they ultimately solve, clarify where the problems or challenges come from. So see, this is the example, or see, you can visualize this tree. Here is the problem, and the problem come from the root causes. Different roots are there. You have to find out the at the end of the all root causes why this problem occur. So this is the identification required. Identification is required, but how to identify this one? I will tell you this very important. See, how to identify why analysis is one of the great technique used in generally in industry. And one example I will tell you. Here, problem statement is the vehicle will not start. So what you will do? So ask the question why. One why, five why we are going to ask. First why. Why the battery is dead? Battery is dead. That may be the problem. That's why vehicle is will not start. Alternator is not functioning. You can see here alternator and this connected with the belt. Okay, this alternator will move the engine. It will help to start the engine. So alternator is not functioning, or alternator belt has broken. This belt, you can visualize here fan belt, or the Maruti Suzuki CS vehicle actual picture to you, shown to you. This alternator belt was well beyond its useful services life and not replaced. That may be a problem. So that way, why, and last five, why the vehicle was not maintained according to the recommended service schedule. That may be possibility. So after asking the why you will get the find out the root cause. That is the why analysis. Or one more, I will tell you few simple questions to ask when analyzing the problem. History of the problem. How long has it existed? How serious is the problem? What are the causes of the problem? What are the effects of the problem? What are the symptoms of the problem? This type of question, when you ask, these are the simple questions when you ask for analyzing the problem. One more technique is there, questions and answer by using the 4W 1H with the brainstorming. That is very, very important, friends. This 4W 1H, how to ask the question, I will tell you in short. Questions and answers. Here is the question 4W 1H with the brainstorming is important to identify the problem, clarify the terms and context. So first question is who. Out of this W 4W, first W is who. That means people who are working, what, where, when, How? This 4W1H. What will the answer? What kind of answers we have to expect from this question? Who means people with their skills and roles they are involved in their problem. What items? That may be input tools, manuals, criteria, that may be invisible knowledge and memory you have to utilize during this what? Where? Where it is utilized? The place, system, environment, conference, that all the things you must be clear from this question. Where? When? When it will going to occur? What are the date? What are the time period? Okay, according to your problem, you will get the analyze the problem. How? Which method you are going to solve, or what are the technique you are going to use, procedure or attitude. See friends, this 4W1H brainstorming session with team very important to get it the identify the problem and analyze your problem. Friend, the first step towards the solving problem is to identify the problem. If you identify what is the specific problem very correctly, this means you should determine what is that you want to change, or try to identify the nature of the problem by summarizing a specific situation systematically, and in one paragraph you have to write down, so that will be clearly defined. Okay, so identify and define will be over, and that will be clearly define the goal, that what you are going to try to achieve. Then determine what are the inputs. Afterwards, what are the inputs and what are the outputs. The outputs are majorly important while solving the problem, and according to output, what are the inputs, and you can watch in the video the problem solving for the computers or problem solving by using the computer science. Watch the videos for this one. Friends, if you don't know what the problem is, you can't solve it, then that will be the, you have to lose and you will not get the great success. So friends, please carefully to understand, identify the problem. Next, we'll go for the step 2. Analyze, understand the problem, generate the possible solutions. We have to define the main elements of the problem in this case. Before solving any problem, it is a very important aspect. Okay, the 3 aspects I'm going to, on which the problem can be understood. I'm going to tell you the aspects: knowledge, subject, and the communication. These 3 aspects are very important: knowledge base, subject, and the communication. The next step in the problem solving, and after the identification, define the problem, understand the problem. Okay, first step is identified and understand the problem by using your knowledge, communication, subject. In this learning the problem, solving, we are utilizing the skills is an ability to break down the problem in small pieces. Okay, what we are going to do here, break down the problems in small pieces or smaller or manageable parts of the defining the main elements. Like this, you can see this major problem is the input and output requirements, input condition, output requirements already we have find out. But after that, the body of this total, here it is related algorithm, but this is your problem. You have to distribute into sub problem, sub task 1, 2, 3. Again sub task we have to distribute again and again here. So how to solve this one? When we distribute the main manageable parts defined into main problem into different one, it is essential step and skill to develop instead of facing a giant, scary, impossible. Okay, by distributing into subtasks or sub elements. So we can solve psychologically and managerially. It is a very essential step or skill to develop both psychologically and managerially. Friends, when if you are thinking fascinating to scary, impossible to climb a monster, big mountain, you have to learn how to go up to this top of the mountain. Different ways, routes we have to find out to reach up to the mountain. So there are smaller elements or roads are there among the hills and rocks. We can see through this we can achieve go to the top. So that is the important, friends. To understand the problem, we have to distribute it or distract it, decompose it. Whenever you break down a big problem into smaller elements, then you must understand what is involved in the problem before you can continue towards the solution. And this will be help you this type of the problem distributed or your break, and you can solve the impossible task with the possible one. So you can go about making several concrete steps to achieve the goal and solve your problem. Friends, this includes what? Already I have told you, the knowledge, subject, communication. This includes the understanding of the knowledge base, how the knowledge of that person or machine for whom you are solving the problem. Okay, so that person, he must be have some knowledge, okay, to solve this problem. And which person that having that knowledge, you can easily solve that problem. Or if you are thinking about the machine, if the problem is to be solved for the machine, then its instruction that must be known. If we consider, for example, for the computer, that language, programming language, that kind of the whatever the software or hardware related knowledge, you must be known to solve that problem. Also, the person was working that have the knowledge related to one. I will give you an example. You cannot solve the problem if you don't know the subject. How? Here, example, to solve the problem involving the accounting, you must know the accounting knowledge. Very simple. So that's why I'm telling you, related to subject, before solving the problem, the subject on which the problem is based must be known for instance to solve the problem. And afterwards, the communication one, that is also important for understanding problem. The developer or designer must communicate with this your customer. So friends, this knowledge, subject and communication are very interlinked, and to solve, analyze, understand the general possible solution, to find out the general possible solution. So you have to communicate your customer or client, whatever idea you generated, you have to communicate with the client or customer by the developer and designer. So you can go to the roots, and you have to what is our second step? Understand the problem definitely correctly. So that is important, this communication. So friend, we'll go to the next third step. This is also very important. Here we have to evaluate, identify the alternatives to solve the problem. Identify alternatives. How we can identify alternative? What would be the happen if? Would it be safe or would it be fair? How would the everyone feel? So for this purpose, alternative way to solve the problem must be known to developer or designer. These alternatives can be just communicating with the customer, and if problem at workplace or if in personal life, then communication with the your family member, relative, friends. They will give you better solution or the automatically the solutions alternatives will be come in your mind. So do research on this one. After researching the problem, it's time to start thinking about the possible alternative solution. This stage, as you think, requires creativity and brainstorming. Friends, look for possible solutions with the creativity and the brainstorming. To identify the alternatives, finding the solutions in a very tricky manner, generate as many potential solutions, alternatives, where to solve the with discussing with the customer, brainstorming. So list the features of each possible solution. It will require creativity and brainstorming. Already discuss with the ideal solutions. Okay, what are the actual solutions? We have to write down the ideal solutions and ultimately define the alternative solutions. Friends, what about finding possible solution in very list the features of each possible solution is very tricky step in the problem solving process. As on the surface, it looks like most of the work is already done. When we see casually, you will feel already done and ultimate goal is closed. Students should not look for the simplistic ways to address the elements of the problem. They should be most effective. So what are the elements of problem? We have to address each and every problem. They should most effective ways and turn them into opportunity to make a strong story. Friends, I will tell you one of the great person, that's Steve Jobs. You know, you might be want to talk other friends or people to find the solutions. Then you will those we have identified, and that will be give you the better solutions. And also, alternative solution must be acceptable ones. You have to take those solutions which are the acceptable ones. So friends, what the Steve Jobs says when he have a team, the Steve Jobs often like to suggest that when his team was confronted with the problem they had to search, what will happen at that time? An elegant, really beautiful solutions they will find out. Pleasingly ingenious and simple solution automatically when they find the very big confronted with the problem, an elegant, really beautiful solution that work they will find. Here students, remember the more effective solutions are you must have the master creative in that one. Okay, so what will happen? Need to master and creative approaches to searching the solution with the aid of techniques of problem solving tree. Problem solving tree already we have developed the trees with branches and leaves are like a solutions. So approaching to search solutions with aids of techniques such as the problem solving tree, that will be leaves will be your solutions, possible solutions we can say. A student have to develop this all the things of the problem solving tree. An important part of this step of the problem solving process is to create logical links. What? Logical link between this problem, and if we think these are the elements of the problems, how they are logically connected. You must have to create these logical links between the different potential solutions, thus the unforeseen solutions and creating synergies. That means strengthen your solutions and the interaction and cooperation between two or more the elements. So that is the important here in the step. So friends, these are the, suppose this is the main element, these are the, they must be how they logically connected, that you must have to learn. The students remember risk and factors that are not easy to foresee, but possible to try to predict. You are possible to predict. So this is important. Remember, okay. We will go for the next step. That is the step number 4. What is step? Here, you have to decide on a solution. Select the best way to solve the problem from list of alternative solutions. In step 3, you have defined the solutions. You have to how to define or selecting the best way to solve the problem. The merits and demerits of each problem must be analyzed, and the criteria to evaluate each problem must be defined. That means the merit means advantages and disadvantages. What are for each elements, and through this you can find out the best alternative solutions of this problem. For this, what we have to do? We have to make a decision. Here the decision skill will be developed here. What we have to do? List the possible solution after comparing merits and demerits. After comparing these merits, demerits, advantages, disadvantages. Once you have listed the possible solution, methodically narrow down your list by using the comparing with the merits and demerits, and narrow down your list to the best solutions. This is the methodically. Do it by sitting together and brainstorming sessions. So if you are working as a team, try to make decisions together, arrive at a consensus solution. That is a general solution, and that will be better one to develop your ability or skill for communicating or teamwork. Automatically here it will develop. Friend, if you are doing individually, you have to sit and write on the paper and think on the logical links and all the parts. The best solution if you are doing the individual one. Okay. So developing a step-by-step execution plan, acting effectively and decisively is the final touch in the problem-solving process. Even if is identified, defined its elements, and examine the problem solutions, then perform steps to execute your action plan. So, friend, select the best way to solve the problem from list of alternative solutions. You can utilize these few points. External benchmarking. Benchmarking means the comparing with the others one, or before you have solved that problem, similar problem, you can benchmark it, and you can also do it. But in reality, ask the probing questions. That is also important. Be willing to consider views in different from yours. Rethink, revisit abandoned alternatives which you are not consider. Rethink it before finalizing deciding the solutions. This is the very most important. Implement your chosen solution in a planned and deliberate way. So friends, remember here always these actions in solving the problem is everything. The more you plan, more you focus on solutions, the smarter you become, the better you come up with the solution. So friends, your planning, action plan, and the solutions, more focus, that will give you the better and better success, and the good solution that will be better for you achievements and the goals or outcome in your as a student life, or increase the salary at workplace, or increase the profit in your business also. So this step, 4th step, what is this? Select the best way to solve the problem from the list of alternative solutions. How? Identify, evaluate pros and cons of each possible solutions before selecting the best one. In order to do this, you need to select criteria and do the evaluation properly. Right? We'll go for the next step. 5th step, last but one step, implement the solution based on the knowledge base created. Step 2 already we have studied. Okay, you have to list the instruction using the selected solutions in step 2. And in step by step the instruction we have to list out, write down the every steps, whatever the for the elements or sub elements, what are the we are going to do, you have to list out. Implement your chosen solution in a planned and deliberate way, that is also important. So friends, this 5th step is put the decision into action. So do stage planning, create and write the number with the numbers step by step, all the instructions, and these numbers step by step instruction must within the knowledge base already we studied in step 2. In last step is the nothing but the evaluate the solution, or that will give the outcome of the your problem. So this 6th step, under the 6 steps, when the solution is evaluated, then what we have to do? Check whether the solution is correct or not. That we have to check it. That means the evaluate the solution, and which will give you outcome, and check whether it satisfies the requirements of the customer or not. That is important. This requirement of customer is important. What is your problem? What are the outcome that will satisfy or not? That we have to check. Observe the solution, how your solution is working. Decide if further action needs to be taken. It's best to decide on a time frame for observation before you follow up and decide whether or not make changes to your plan. So observe it and make it changes to your plan. At last, students sit down with all the problem solving, whatever the elements are there, and do the brainstorming, and finally you have to plan it either alone or in group together. This is the moment to look back and see if there is a need to tune up the work that has been completed. Especially valuable is what they are taking the time to evaluate entire process of formulating lessons to be learned, so the next problem solving project will be more effective and it will helpful to you to solve similar problems in your life, that will get the job, or you can start your smart business and you can grow and get definitely success, friends, and produce the more elegant solutions. So that is the important in your life, everyday life, or at a workplace, or your for business. Friends, I would like to tell you, problem solving is a skill you can learn by practice only. So friends, problem that is important, and problem solving computers, top-down design, solving strategies. Please watch all these videos which will be beneficial to you. Thank you for watching my video, and please make subscribe and share and like the video. If you like, you can write the comments. I have the different channels related to material science, industrial engineering, Python, and mechanical vibration, and ultimately main channel is the Kadan Academy. Under this Kadan Academy, friends, thank you very much.